Why teenagers think that they're smarter than their parents. Number one, logic. Majority of you parents do not care about logic. All you care about is arguing and winning the argument. You guys don't want a civil conversation. You just want to argue and win the argument. You didn't even have to do that. It's okay to be wrong. It is okay to be wrong. Not only that, majority of you parents think that logic only applies to your kids and not to you. That is the most bratty, spoiled, entitled way of thinking. Like, let's just face it. Majority of y'all became parents just so you can get away with stuff. Majority of y'all became parents just so you can get away with stuff. You have no good intentions bringing kids into this world. Like, another thing, majority of you parents are just so bratty and so entitled and spoiled. Y'all don't even try to work a computer. You just want your kids to do all the work for you. Like, working a computer ain't that hard. Majority of y'all think you know everything, but y'all ain't even trying to work a computer. You just want your child to work it for you because you feel like you the queen and your kid's a peasant and they should do all your bidding. Y'all just want to give your kids a hard time just because you're parents. Another reason why children thinks that they're smarter than you, like, just to add on to that, is because y'all are the biggest, proudest hypocrites ever. Like, y'all would take your kids to anger management classes for even showing any physical signs of anger. But y'all would do the worst. When you're angry. Y'all would throw stuff, throw tantrums, hit your kids. Y'all would scream at your kids. Y'all would cuss them out. Y'all expect your children to act like adults, but you don't act like adults. Like, those whoopings did not keep you from being a brat. The fact that you feel entitled to treat your kids, anybody closest to you, a certain way, while expecting respect, that whooping did not teach you that. That whooping did not teach you anything about not being a spoiled brat. Okay, y'all are the real spoiled brats. I don't care what kind of video games, computers, phones that we have. Majority of y'all are the real spoiled brats. Majority of y'all are the ones who be acting entitled. Like, especially when society condones your toxic behavior. Like, y'all don't even need any proof when it comes to accusing your kids of anything. But your kids need to back up the proof when it comes to vice versa. Like, I don't condone it, but I understand why your kids look down on you. Like, your kids doesn't even have to be all rebellious and rude and mean and losing respect towards you. They just grow up just not liking how you treat them. They didn't have to be in this rebellious stage. They just don't like how you treat them. So all that respect that they have for you goes out the window. Like, let me tell you something. To all the children out there, teenagers, children, if you try to show this video to your parents and they just completely avoid it, cut them off. Cut them off. Because they toxic. You don't need to hang out. You don't need these people. Or when you're too young to cut them off, like, how do I say this? Work your way out of their house and cut them off then. My brother will blindly believe anything my mom says about me. But I need proof to back up. I need proof to back up anything I say about my mom. Majority of y'all parents are so toxic, y'all need therapy. Okay? Y'all need God as much as your kids do. y'all ain't even trying to get therapy, but y'all giving your kids therapy. Like, sometimes your kids need therapy because you need therapy and you ain't trying to get it. Majority of y'all parents be having abandonment issues. Y'all, majority of parents be provoking your children into leaving and then get really upset when they try to leave. Like, maybe treat your kids right, then maybe they wouldn't have to leave you. And not only that, you parents, you are the parents. That's your child. You're supposed to have it all figured out. You're supposed to have it all figured out before bringing kids into this world. Like, they're whole other individuals. They're going to have dreams. They're going to want a life of their own. They don't need to be staying with you. They need to have it all figured. Like, they're going to have a house of their own. They're going to have a life of their own. Okay? Especially when you're treating them like crap when you were living with them. Majority of you parents, like, same with, like, it's like my family. My family needs to have it all figured out before trying so hard to keep me in their lives. Like, they calling me manipulative, saying that I'm always in the wrong, saying that if I'm so manipulative and I'm such a problem, why do I need to go back to you? Like, this is to my family. Why do I need to go back to you if I'm so manipulative? Why do I need to go back to you if I was a problem? I'm talking crap on the inside, but the Lord is holding me back. Thank you, Lord. Family is just trash. Okay? Like, so back to why teenagers think that they're smarter than their parents is because majority of parents do not act like their age. They do not act their age. They just bringing kids into this world just to treat them like crap and expect respect back. And then, how do I say this? And then they wonder why their kids look down on them. Especially when their kids is clearly mature than the parent. Sometimes teens can be more mature than the parent and more wiser than the parent. Because majority of you parents refuse to grow up. Majority of you parents just refuse to grow up. Majority of y'all need therapy. You need God as much as your kids do. Majority of y'all only became parents because you just want to get away with stuff. You just want to get away with being a jerk. And because you wouldn't get away with treating your parents that way. Like, a majority of you parents do not love your kids. You can say, oh, but I love them. No, actions speak louder than words. And it takes more than hugs and kisses to prove that you love your kids. And it takes more than providing for them, giving a house to say, like, giving them a home, giving them food on their plates, clothes on their backs, a roof over their heads. You owe them that. Because y'all ain't putting them into a foster care. Y'all decided to keep them. So you owe them a roof over their head. You owe them clothes on their back. You owe them food on their plate. If you didn't do that, you would have been arrested. So that kind of obligation is nothing. Especially if you're using that to treat your kids like crap, cross their boundaries, and make them more likely to be taken advantage of because they don't have any boundaries. Treating them like crap, giving them a hard time, stealing their stuff. Like, that Like, as long as you keep doing stuff like that, what you provide for your kids is nothing. These hugs and kisses that you give to your kids means nothing. Man, me, when I was younger, my mom likes to say that she loves me, gives me hugs and kisses, but likes to call me names, and steal my stuff, cross my boundaries, treat me like crap, and I just believe more of the horrible stuff that she treats me, the horrible stuff that she's done for me, done to me, more than I believe that she loves me. Like, when she tells me that she loves me, I felt nothing. I felt empty. But when I told my inner child that I love her, I started crying. Your hugs and your kisses and your providing your hugs and your kisses mean nothing. Like, let me tell you something. Like, as long as you keep treating your kids like crap, your hugs and your kisses will mean nothing. Will always mean nothing. What you provide for your kids will always mean nothing. The fact that you mess with their belongings and you throw away their clothes, you get into their room, giving them diaries just so you can find a reason to ground them with it, it will always mean, like, as long as you keep doing stuff like that, your hugs and your kisses is going to mean nothing. What you provide for your kids will mean nothing, no matter what. Majority of you parents are toxic, and you deserve to be cut off. So if your kids think that they smarter than you, more mature than you, more wiser than you, ask yourself why. Ask yourself why. And if you don't want to know why, then you shouldn't be having kids in this world. Not only that, you blame your kids for everything. You act like it's their fault for being brought into this world and not yours. You act like it's their fault for being brought into this world and not yours. You bring your kids into this world, making them feel like burdens in your life, while you ain't even trying to take them to the foster's home. Since having kids into this world is so hard for you, you hate it. Since you're so miserable having kids, then why can't you take your kids to a foster's home? Take them to a foster's home. You don't have to take care of them. If it's so annoying, so miserable taking care of your kids, take them to a foster's home. It'll save you a whole lot of headaches. You clearly don't want your kids, so why are you making them feel like crap for existing? You brought your kids into this world. You chose to keep them. And every time your kids try to leave the house, every time your kids even considers going to a foster care, you always try to convince them not to go, like, oh no, you're going to be abused. Like, you don't know whether you want to keep your kids or not. You just want to drive them crazy. Like, if your kids is such a burden in your life, take them to a foster's care. Like, I don't condone teenagers looking down on you, but I understood why. So, ask yourself, why does your kids look down on you? Ask yourself why your teenage daughter/son think that they're smarter than you. Ask yourself why. Ask yourself why they're in this rebellious stage. Because, like, your teenage daughter/son, they do not have to be in this rebellious stage. They just do not like how you treat them. So the respect that they had for you goes out the window. If your kids cut you off, Every time if your kids cut you off, ask yourself why. If your kids if your kids are in this rebellious stage, ask yourself why. And if them telling you why isn't enough, you don't deserve to be a parent. Majority of you parents are not ready to become parents. Y'all like to come up with all these, and then whenever it comes to conflict, y'all don't need proof when it comes to accusing your kids of anything, but they need proof when it comes to vice versa. This is why your kids look down on you, because majority of y'all are so entitled and spoiled and bratty. Like majority of y'all act like little kids, spoiled, bratty little kids. Like y'all just brought kids into this world just so you can get away with being a jerk. Because you knew you wouldn't get away with that stuff if you wasn't a parent. I'm serious. A majority of y'all parents need help. You need help. Like, and not only that, when your kids go to therapy, when you put your kids into therapy, the reason why your kids need therapy is because, like, sometimes when your kids need therapy, they need therapy because you need therapy and you're not trying to get any. So you take all your trauma and all your problems out on your kids. My previous therapist wasn't much of a help when it comes to my family conflicts. I always end up apologizing and going back to them, going back to my mom, when they could have told me, you do not have to tolerate that. You deserve better. Cut them off. Work your way out. Like, they were not much help because I've always taken the blame. Because I've always been taking the blame and going back to my mom. I always end up apologizing and being the scapegoat of the family. And then, makes matters worse, they confuse me of my every decision that I've ever made. And it manipulated me into taking a conservatorship. My brother was also part of the problem. When I was younger, I would always like to seek external validation from my brother. And my brother always liked to confuse me of my every decision that I've ever made. I tell him anything, he always tells me, you don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're saying. How do you know that? Like, it don't matter how obvious. Like, I could tell him about a toxic friend who is obviously toxic. Like, in the most obvious ways. And he can tell me, you don't know that? You don't know that? How do you know? No, don't say nothing to that toxic friend. Keep her. Keep that toxic friend. You don't know nothing. No, you just have bad intuition. My brother has really bad intuition. He talking about trust your gut, but he can't even trust his intuition. Your intuition is always there for you when your gut isn't enough. There are YouTube videos to help you build your intuition. And even though the things that I've had with my ex-friends could have been a misunderstanding, I don't have to risk being betrayed by my fake friends if I don't have to, if I don't want to. I don't have to risk it. Like, sometimes it's better to avoid the risk. Sometimes it's better, like, there's a fine line between flaws and red flags. But back to what I was saying. When it comes to teenagers looking down on parents, majority of you parents need to ask yourself why your teenage kid looks down on you. Because the majority of y'all come up with the most ridiculous logic. You think every rule that you place, every rule, majority of y'all think that every rule you set out for your kids only applies to them. No wonder why your kids don't take you seriously. Like, majority of y'all parents need help, need therapy. Majority of y'all parents are not ready to become parents. You just brought your kids into this world just so you can get away with being a jerk to somebody. So whenever your kids look down on you, think they smarter than you, think they wiser, mature than you, not respecting you or any of that, ask yourself why.